Obviously, a tale of two halves. I thought that I want to give Brown credit. I watched him obviously the last 2 days pretty heavily, and I told their coach prior to the game I wanted to talk to him afterwards and pick his brain a little bit. I think he does a great job. I really thought that they were well coached. I thought they ran good stuff. I thought they screened really well. I thought their team had some toughness about them and an IQ about them that I really liked in preparing for the game. And I thought in the first half that they were the better team in the first half. I thought they played with a little bit more toughness than we did, a little bit more sense of urgency. And I thought Spieth obviously was terrific. Tonight, it's not very often you see a 6'2" guard, and he's very crafty. And he made that fader on the baseline in the second half over Ray. He made a scoop shot over Nana. That's not easy to do. And I thought he played well. In the second half, though, we turned it up. We did. And I thought our effort level and our focus was much better in the second half. We had some scouting miscues in the first half. I thought we were more locked in the second half. And then once again, our team shows its unselfishness with 30 field goals, 17 of them assisted, 5 guys in double figures, Nana knocking on the door to be number 6. So, in fact, I thought at times which is a good problem to have, I thought we overpassed a little bit. So we talked about kind of taking what's there, reading it. Don't predetermine whether to shoot or pass the ball. Take what's there. But we got a really unselfish group of guys. I thought that Tate and Rice played really well in the first half and kind of put us in range where we had a chance to make the run in the second half. I thought Kaz obviously did some good things both halves as well. I thought Jalen coming in the game both halves gave us huge momentum lifts, almost like an energizer, and I thought that was big at the defensive end. Obviously, the stat sheet shows that he did some really good things. But there were a lot of things he did, a little bit like I tell you about Nana, that don't show up sometimes on a stat sheet that help your team win. And I thought he did that tonight. Obviously, we made shots. If you shoot 73% in the second half and 67 from 3 and 89 from the line, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of games. So I thought we executed well in the second half. First half, I'll be honest with you, I think these guys would tell you we got some of the same shots, we just didn't make them. Sometimes it goes that way. I was more concerned with the defensive end, our scouting, our attention to detail, our discipline, our focus, which again I thought was much better in the second half.
John, what bothered you more at halftime? Your 30.6 field goal percentage, or their 50, almost 50?
They're 50, by far, because I knew we had pretty good shots in the first half, we just didn't make them. We have too many good shooters. At some point, that's going to turn, and that's what happened in the second half. But defensively, it's interesting because I'll be honest with you, they executed now. We had in my mind probably 4 or 5 scouting errors in the first half. That's what stood out to me on the defensive end top. But other than that, they made some plays. They give them credit. They execute well. They screen well. They run good stuff. Different type of game than the last 2 games, one that we needed. And we're going to see what our guys are made of coming out of halftime there. Down 4 here at home. And, obviously I thought our guys showed great character, in the second half.
You had a group, I know last year we talked about the success on the road. Have you had a group before? I don't know if you haven't learned it with these guys yet, but that embraces being on the road and being away and coming together like that.
We've always been pretty good in that way at my previous stop as well. I just think those guys are right. There's an edge to you. It's kind of us against everybody. Sometimes when you get away from home, you can get a little bit more focused too, Marcus. You I hate to say you quarantine them, but they're with you the whole time you're there. You're very locked in. You almost have a singular focus of preparing for that opponent in that game, and that's all that's on your mind. And obviously during weekday games, we take academic people with us. We have study table, and we understand that we have academic responsibilities that are really important. But I think it's easier to get locked in maybe. But this year, I think we've been, for the most part, pretty locked in at home. I would say 3 of the 4 games we've been ready to go, to start the game. And then, for whatever reason in the opener, we already talked about that. Certainly not to beat a dead horse. I didn't think that we're ready to roll. So it is what it is. Every game you're in, it's a chance to learn. I thought today having a chance to play against a different style of play, I was looking forward to that. I thought it was what our team needed.
You don't ever seem to fail to notice, you and your staff, if somebody doesn't sprint down the court, if Ahmad doesn't pick up the ball deep in the backcourt. What's realistic about, maybe the percentage of the time, that you expect these guys to do these things that are fundamental to the way you want to coach?
Well, I always tell them, Steve, and I think this is true, and I make them figure out kind of what I'm saying because they look at me funny because they're really a complete 180 of one another. But we're striving for perfection, knowing full well that we're not going to get it. But that's what we're striving for. And I think if you strive for perfection, understanding you're not going to get it, no one plays perfect. I don't know if there was a game in college basketball last year where a team didn't have at least one turnover or miss a shot. No team I can recollect pitched a shutout last year. But we're striving for that. And if you do that, then you get excellence. You get greatness. If you don't strive for that and you say, well, we'll strive for okay, then you get mediocrity, in my opinion. Or we're going to strive for good, then you're going to get mediocrity. So for us, we're very demanding without being demeaning, and we hold our guys accountable. And I think the guys would tell you, Jalen just said it, they know what's important. They know what their role is. They know what to stand. No one's walking around our locker room like, hey, I have no idea what he wants from me. No. In fact, they'll be like, well, he's pretty honest with me. Like he's looking me right in the eyes and like coming right at me. Like I know what my role is, and I've got to go out and execute it like an NBA All-Star. And I think Tate did that tonight. I thought he did it in both halves.
John, he's got a 17-4 assist-to-turnover ratio. Last year, non-conference 30-6. How has he gotten better?
Bigger, physically, stronger, a little bit tougher mentally. Understands the system better. Understands his role better, embraces that. I think he'll be able to handle adversity a lot better. And those are probably the biggest differences. That, and he's really comfortable inside the system and kind of knows what we expect and knows who he is. You got to play to your strengths. I tell those guys, sometimes they look at me funny, or LaRon will look at me funny, but I say, remember, fellas, keep the main thing the main thing. You don't have to prove to somebody, keep the main thing the main thing. Bring your strengths to the table. We got some pretty talented and gifted guys. If everybody brings that to the table, then we have a chance to be a really good team.
When you first arrived here, you said you'd like to play 9 or 10. This is the first time you've been able to do that.
Yeah, no question. First time. It does, yeah. Depth is great, and holds guys are held accountable a little bit. It lets us play the style that we want to play offensively and defensively.
This is the first time you've had enough talent to do it too.
Well, I mean, obviously I have respect for the guys I coached on the first two teams, and we had some talented guys that, yeah, there's more depth top to bottom for sure. But our program would not be where it's at right now. There's a growing process. You have to go through growing pains. This is not like, this is big boy ball what we're doing. This is not like it's flip the switch overnight. Man, it doesn't happen. And without the guys we had the first 2 years, we would not be in the situation that we're in right now.
John, we want to get on the Vegas trip.
I want to keep getting challenged, and I know that we're going to. I think it keeps getting ramped up and it gets a little bit harder each game here coming up, and I like that. I like the fact that we've got to go into some, a hostile environment here. We've got to go to play neutral games. We've got to go get away from home. I think that's good. That's going to help us grow up even more as a team. Just want to keep getting better. That's really all we can control. Our deal is, we want to maximize this team's potential. We're on a mission to do that. As Egwu said, and maybe the greatest quote I've ever seen, certainly in my coaching career of the teams I've coached, you don't want to have any regrets. And we're operating as such.
John, when you watch a game tape that's got your next two opponents in it, is that advantageous, disadvantageous?
I think advantageous, Rob. Obviously I have normally I would have zero film and be going to get a folder right now when I'm done with this and getting an edit that I'd take home with me. But I have watched the game that they played against Brown, so I have a little bit of a feel, more so than I would normally.
John, normally when you're about to move up in competition, assuming Indiana State and Memphis and Baylor are that, you wouldn't know at this point, but the Dayton scrimmage, gave you a little bit of evidence how your kids perform against NCAA caliber kids and so forth?
Yeah, I think so. That helped us for sure. I've thanked Mike Thomas and Jason Leonard and the staff for letting us have that opportunity to do that, and I thought it was great for us. I thought it was great, and on a lot of, I mean, I could talk about it, but a lot of different fronts. When you get a scrimmage, we played against. I think I may have even told you this stuff that day. We played against zone presses. We played against all kinds of different we played different lineups. I mean, you just learn so much more doing something like that, and I thought that's been very beneficial for our team.
What do you think gets thrown at you defensively now that these teams have seen what you do offensively?
It's a great question, Jeremy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've seen a little bit of everything in the first 4 games. We've seen zone pressure. We've seen man pressure. We've seen denying. We've seen pack gaps. We've seen man zone. We've seen all kinds of different things. That part's been good. I don't know. I mean, I think Kaz said it best. I mean, we'll keep learning as we move forward, but this is A through Z, the best shooting team I've coached in 7 years, A through Z. Like, guy could have an off night or a couple guys, but you're hopeful that, you got 6, 7 guys that could possibly score in double figures, that the odds are that all 7 of them aren't going to have a, so I just think it's hard. And the way we're playing right now, we're really very versatile in terms of you don't know who we're going to out of a timeout. You don't know who's going to shoot the ball. It could be a number of guys. We're not 1 or 2 or even 3-dimensional. So I think that hopefully that makes us more difficult to defend.
Coach, I think it was technical. I guess what was the explanation that was given? He crossed the barrier.
He said he crossed the line and touched the ball across the line. So I trust his judgment. I haven't seen the film yet, but he said he did. I'm sure he did. I was just lobbying for if he stepped across the line, that was supposed to be a warning per the rules prior to that, but that's neither here nor there.
It seemed like you said we're not all going to struggle, but with what Ray was able to kind of keep you in, just kind of says that he has the capability of still doing that.
That's twice he's done that, Georgia Southern and then this one, where I just didn't think we had it, but he had it, and he was grinding. I mean, I just like his disposition right now, his mindset, his mentality. Just, Ray. There's no guarantees how a season turns out, but Ray's mindset, his mind is in the right place. He wants to compete. He wants to win. He's a great teammate. As I've said numerous times now, more than anything, I'm most proud of how he's matured as a person.
Seemed to really enjoy getting Aaron the ball when Aaron was having his high.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he was making shots, and it's fun to run plays for him. He makes shots, and we utilize him in different situations, and ran some stuff for Ray, Malcolm, Ahmad, Nana, LaRon. I mean, we were running all kinds of different things for those guys. It's good to have that many weapons, but it's certainly, Rob, a luxury to have a guy like Kaz out there who's so physical, that's willing to screen and put you in a predicament where you either help off of him or you don't. And if you help off of him, then he's going to make a shot. And if you don't help off of him, then somebody else is going to hit you with a shot. And it's just, he's. I'm really, really glad he's on our team. That's for sure.
Well, I didn't enunciate well enough, but what I meant by that question was that it seemed like Ray particularly was looking for Kaz when he recognized that Kaz was catching fire.
Yeah, maybe so. I thought Ray he turned it over a couple times there. That's kind of who I was alluding to when, I told him he was almost like looking to overpass. He had a couple drives there to the baseline where I thought he could have went up and finished, but I'd rather scale him back and tell him, hey, you're being too unselfish, than the other way around. Again, even the first half when we shot 31%, I didn't have much of a problem with our shot selection. We just didn't make them.
Question for Coach?
Guys, have a happy Thanksgiving.